Welcome to Doctors on Call. I'm Jenna Miller. Healthy eating is one of the best things you can do to prevent and control health problems such as heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and some types of cancer. Your heart, your brain, your entire body benefits from exercise. Fitness means being able to perform physical activity. It also means having the energy and strength to feel as good as possible. Getting more fit, even a little bit, can improve your health. Healthy eating and exercise, that's our topic today on Doctors on Call with our guests, Dr. Robert Clark and Dr. Kristie Clark.
Presentation of Doctors on Call is made possible in part by an underwriting grant from Gove County Medical Center in Quitter. Healing through caring.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, serving approximately 950,000 Kansans in various programs. A value Kansans trust. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Russell Regional Hospital, experts, neighbors, friends.
Welcome back to Doctors on Call. Our topic tonight is eating and a healthy diet and exercise with Dr. Robert Clark and Dr. Kristie Clark. Dr. Kristie Clark graduated from Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia. She is a board-certified pediatrician and completed her residency in pediatrics at UT Southwestern in Dallas, Texas. Dr. Clark is president-elect of the Kansas chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. She is the health officer for Hodgman County Health Department and sees patients at Oshea Memorial Clinic in Jetmore, Kansas. She is a certified yoga instructor and enjoys weightlifting, swimming, and riding her bike with her dogs. Dr. Robert Clark graduated from UT Southwestern School of Medicine in Dallas, Texas. He is a board-certified family medicine physician and completed his residency in family medicine at John Peter Smith Hospital in Fort Worth, Texas. Dr. Robert Clark serves as the Hodgman County Coroner and Medical Director for Hodgman County EMS. He is Chief Medical Officer at Hodgman County Health Center and sees patients at Oshea Memorial Clinic in Jetmore. He enjoys swimming, bike riding, weightlifting, and running with his sons. Give us a call at 1-800-337-4788 toll-free with your medical questions about healthy eating and exercise today on Doctors on Call. Doctors on Call brings you information which may be useful to you when you see your own physician. Thank you so much for joining us, Drs. Clark. Let's get started with, how do you know if you're getting the right amount of vitamins and nutrients? Or do you know?
Well, it can sometimes be hard to know. Most important thing is to eat a very well-balanced, varied diet. And if you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and getting plenty of protein and plenty of dairy products in your diet, then you're probably getting a very well-balanced diet.
Hear a lot about the diet drinks out there. Are they any good for you?
That's a great question. They did this really excellent study a few years ago in which they took a large study, 8,000 people in one arm, 8,000 people in the other arm. The first arm got diet drinks, diet sodas. The other arm got regular sodas, so whatever soda pop you want. Guess who gained weight? Both of them. Mm-hmm. Guess who gained more weight? The diet soda pop group actually gained more weight. So we don't know why that is, because in theory, if you drink a diet soda, it doesn't have any calories. But yet, something about this makes people consume more calories because they tend to gain weight. I think probably it has to do with the way we think about food. Many times we think about food as a reward, so that perhaps if you drink a diet soda, you think, well, now I get to eat the pie or the cake.
Or the fries with the burger.
Or the fries with the burger, because you sacrificed in some way by having a diet drink, so now you get to reward yourself with something else. Mm-hmm. So the fact of the matter is, it seems like you would enjoy a soda pop every now and then, and that's probably okay, but people that drink soda pop gain weight, and they don't enjoy life as much. So people that are healthier and enjoy life more don't drink soda pop. Mm-hmm. They drink water. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, water is definitely the healthiest beverage. And there's some thinking, we don't know exactly why people who drink diet soda, diet pop gain weight, but I also tend to think that it's so sweet that it almost mimics to your brain that you've had something sweet. And what that does is then you actually release insulin and you drive your own sugar in your blood into your cells, and then that generates hunger. And so it almost drives hunger just like a regular soda would that has sugar in it. So best thing, most healthiest thing is to drink water.
Now, is there an alternative? Are there some healthier drinks that might be carbonated out there to give somebody that kick they need, or just drink water?
I think from a scientific standpoint, we don't have any information to answer that. I think it's tempting to drink the new bubbly drinks if you like those. But the fact of the matter is, diet drinks and soda pop equal weight gain. And so that's tough because many people, that's what they drink.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of sugar, if you're wanting to eat less sugar, and you think you are eating less sugar, where might it be hidden in some of our foods?
This is a good question, Jenna. So sugar, 1 teaspoon of sugar is equal to 4 grams of sugar. And so this is helpful for people to know when they're looking at food packaging. So for example, a place that there's a lot of hidden sugar that we tend to think of as a very healthy food would be yogurt. And by yogurt, I don't mean plain Greek yogurt, which is very high in protein and calcium and it's good for you. I mean yogurt that's more processed, that has a lot of flavoring and added sugar. And so you might pick up a container of yogurt and it may say 25 grams of sugar on it. Well then 25 divided by 4, well that's over 6 teaspoons of sugar. And so I find this helpful in my own life that if I pick it up and think, well, I don't want an extra 6 teaspoons of sugar. In fact, we know 6 teaspoons of sugar is really the daily maximum of sugar you should have. Then it's easy then to put that down and maybe make a healthier choice.
Okay. There's a lot of fad diets that go around. We hear a lot about the low carb, high fat diet. How do you guys feel about those?
I tend to agree. Just to cite another recent study, they took teenage girls, and in one arm, there were 400 in each arm, they gave them a turkey link processed sausage for breakfast. 2 of them every morning. So that's what they had for breakfast. Salty, greasy, processed turkey sausage every morning for breakfast. No carbohydrates. The other group got to eat whatever they wanted. They waited a year. What did they find? They found out the group that ate the sausage for breakfast actually lost weight and consumed 400 fewer calories per day. And there's different theories as to why that might be, but the point is when you eat carbohydrates, you tend to want to eat more of them, and your body processes them differently so that you tend to store more fat, whereas your body seems to do better and have less hunger when you eat actually higher protein, higher fat meals. Kind of odd, different than what you're used to hearing.
Our body stores carbohydrates as fat. However, if we lead an active lifestyle, we actually burn the fat as fuel. And a lot of times we get the question, well, what is the healthy fat? And the healthiest fat are the monounsaturated fats, such as what you find in extra virgin olive oil. But we also get the question a lot of times, what is healthier, margarine or butter, doctor? In fact, we've had that question today. And really what's healthier is the naturally occurring fat. So butter would be healthier than margarine. And in fact, I tell patients, read labels, educate yourself, avoid hydrogenated fat and trans fat, because those are fake fats where they take a liquid vegetable oil and hydrogenate it to make it solid. That's not naturally occurring in nature. Much better to have a small amount of butter, more satisfying, better for you, than to have a fake fat in margarine.
Okay, great information. We're going to go to the phone lines now. We've got a caller waiting to ask a question. This is Elizabeth on the line from Dodge City. Hi, Elizabeth. You are live on the air. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, doctors. I am 35 years old and 50 pounds overweight. I have adopted the paleo diet and have increased my exercise to 1 hour, 6 days a week. I have completely eliminated dairy from my diet per the doctor's suggestion due to high cholesterol. I'm drinking lots of water. And I've been doing this regimen for about 7 months, and the weight is coming up very slowly, and I'm beyond frustrated. So I'm wondering if you have any suggestions on how to rev up my metabolism.
Great question. Okay, it's hard to know where to start, but you're doing a lot of things right. I think a lot of people get frustrated because they make some very serious lifestyle decisions and they expect results. For example, you have changed your diet, you're exercising more, you're drinking water. I'm assuming you've eliminated all calories from your drinks, your beverages. Many people actually experience the opposite of what they expect. They actually start gaining weight when they do these things. Why is that? Well, you have to go back to some real basics. And one of the basic things you have to do to be successful in this is, number one, it sounds like you're already there. You want to know where you are today, and you've decided you want to lose some weight. You need to know what your goal is, and realistically when you expect to get there. And then you're going to have to count your calories. And this is something that you would want to work on next, is counting the actual calories. And you have to get your calorie count down for a lady probably about 1,000 calories a day. And when you get to 1,000 calories, that's it. You don't get any more. And it really doesn't matter if it's carbohydrates or proteins or fruits or vegetables. It's the actual calories that count. The other thing that happens when you start to exercise, which is fantastic for your metabolism, but it creates this desire to consume more calories, and because you're exercising. So you've increased your metabolism, so now your body automatically wants to consume more calories.
And sometimes you're building muscle.
Absolutely.
As you exercise.
So people oftentimes will exercise and then gain weight. And the way you lose weight actually is not by exercise. You lose weight by counting calories, restricting calories, and doing that every single day and being hungry. And then exercise is bonus. If you just exercise, you're going to gain weight because you're going to consume more calories.
I think it's great that you've made these lifestyle modifications and that you're starting to see some weight loss. And it's okay if it's slow and gradual, because that's going to stay with you and you're going to be successful and you have a goal. And what I would add to what Dr. Robert said is that as a woman, I find it's very important that we do some weightlifting, even if it's small weights, lots of repetitions. We're not trying to bulk up like the men, but by building more muscle, we're basically making ourselves more efficient users of fuel, and we become more insulin sensitive. And so I would definitely recommend looking at the total calorie count. I would keep at it. You're going to be successful. And I would also look at trying to do some muscle building exercises. But that's a great question.
Okay, very good. Let's talk about why is vitamin D important?
This is kind of interesting because 10 years ago, you couldn't get enough vitamin D, and vitamin D was good for your core body strength. It was good for your memory. It was good for your sleep. It was good for your bones. However, the fact of the matter is, we have to change our recommendations as the evidence changes. And right now there's been some pretty good medical evidence that it's not a cure-all for everything. Vitamin D, as you know, is not necessarily naturally occurring in your diet. You get vitamin D from sunshine through a process of your skin and your kidney function and some different hormones. Some people either don't have exposure to sunshine, or as you get older you don't process as well, so your vitamin D gets a bit lower. But the fact of the matter is, our recommendations for vitamin D are changing right now, and I have stopped checking vitamin D levels as a medical doctor just in the last year for my adult patients. The little infants still get a vitamin D supplement. We still give some vitamin D, 400 to 800 international units with calcium for bone health, particularly after menopause in ladies. But routinely, we're not supplementing vitamin D anymore.
It's a good question. So what's interesting about vitamin D is the one thing that breast milk can be deficient in is vitamin D. So human breast milk is the perfect food for human babies. And because of our lifestyles, the fact that we're indoors more, we're not outside, if we are outside, we're covered up or wearing sunscreen or hats, that's the one thing that breast milk can actually be deficient in. So we do recommend that newborns who are on less than 24 ounces of formula a day have a small supplement of vitamin D in addition to the breast milk.
And if I could add one more thing to vitamin D. Vitamin D is not really a vitamin, it's actually a hormone, and it's fat soluble, so you can overdose on vitamin D.
Yes.
And you can become toxic on it. Many vitamins, for example, vitamin C, you can take an excessive amount, you're just going to pee out the rest. It's not dangerous. But vitamin D, if you're going to take above recommended doses, you need to speak with your doctor about that.
Right. And for most vitamins and minerals, it's actually like a U-shaped curve, which means there's a sweet spot where you're getting exactly how much you need to get, but you can also get too less or too much of any of these vitamins or minerals. And that's why it's just so important to have a very healthy, well-balanced, varied diet. And if you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, you're probably going to be getting the amount of vitamins you need.
And you're saying that vitamin D comes from the sun. Are you suggesting we get out in the sun a little bit more?
Good question, Jenna, because we also know that getting out in the sun increases our risk of skin cancer. Right. So again, a little bit of sun exposure is good for us and helps us put vitamin D into its active form, which is healthy for our bones, but too much is too much and increases our risk of skin cancer. And skin cancer is really one of the most common cancers we see.
Okay. All right. Now we were talking about carbohydrates and the dangers of carbs. Are there any carbs that are good for you?
Great question. Any carb needs to be eaten in moderation. But if you're trying to limit your carbs, but you're still going to have some carbs in your diet, you want them to be very high quality carbs. So those should be whole grain carbs. So whole wheat, whole corn, whole potatoes, the whole thing, skin and all, when you make your mashed potatoes, if you make mashed potatoes. So it needs to be whole grains. A lot of times what we do is we process carbohydrates to the point that they don't resemble the way that they originally grew in nature. And so you take something like wheat, which if you grind it up, it's going to be brown and have a lot of texture and a lot of B vitamins and a lot of fiber in it. And we purify it to the point that it doesn't resemble the way it was naturally grown. So good question. I think the big thing is try to stick with whole grains as much as you can. It'll increase your vitamins and it'll increase your fiber.
Okay. All right, great.
Keep you full longer.
Yes, that's very important. We are going to go to the phone lines. We've got Jennifer on the line from Russell. Hi, Jennifer. Go ahead with your question for Dr. Clark tonight.
Yes, hi. Are there any weight management diet pills, appetite suppressant pills that you would suggest that are healthier than others?
It's a great question. That's a question that we actually get a lot. And there really isn't a substitute for eating less and exercising more and adopting a healthy lifestyle. We don't particularly recommend any diet pills. A lot of them have had some pretty serious side effects, including death. Any thoughts that you have on that?
Yeah, great question. And we do have some things that are FDA approved and that we do use to help you achieve your goals for weight loss. But generally speaking, like the previous caller, you're going to enjoy life more and feel better if you, quite frankly, can be disciplined and suffer and be hungry. And
that sounds awful.
Yeah, it does. But if you think about it,
That's why you need the real butter to go with it.
Oh, there we go.
Many people that I care for seemingly are comfortable because they eat all they want. They don't exert themselves as far as exercise, and they don't have any occasion to get off the couch and be uncomfortable. They watch all the TV they want, but they're also unhappy and they really don't enjoy life. On the other hand, folks that are disciplined and they limit what they eat and they're willing to sacrifice and be a little hungry and be uncomfortable and exercise actually enjoy life more and they feel younger. So there's no magic pill for this, and this is tough because everybody's looking for an answer, but the fact of the matter is, it's how you think and the decisions you make that lead to certain consequences. And until you accept that fact, you're not going to be successful. So successful people are able to fall into a pattern of discipline, being a little bit uncomfortable, sacrificing food, and exercising, and they do that every day.
Okay. All right, good advice. Let's talk about the difference between, you hear that breakfast is the most important part of the day, but then there's a lot of rage right now about the intermittent fasting, and that, so let's talk about that. And it seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect there. How do you feel about that?
Exactly, because some of the intermittent fasting is recommending eating an early dinner and then not having any food and then not eating when you first get up, and so you're going a long period of time without food. I have had periods of time in my life where I've had to lose weight either after having a baby or having ankle reconstruction, and I've lost weight eating 3 meals a day. So from my own experience, I'm a pretty big advocate of eating 3 meals a day, but those being healthy meals and portion control and exercising. It's not necessarily something that we're recommending yet, the intermittent fasting. I have some concern about it, and my main concern is it seems like historically people who have skipped meals or tried to starve themselves into losing weight, that it actually can have bad consequences, unintended consequences, where you put your body into more of a starvation famine mode, and then when you do eat, your body's very efficient at storing anything that you eat. So I think it can have some unintended consequences, and it's not something that I would recommend yet. Do you agree?
My take on it is still from a scientific standpoint, and that's calorie counting. So what matters is the total amount of calories you consume in a 24-hour period. If you save them all up and you eat 3,000 calories all at once, that's still excessive. If you save them all up and you only consume 1,000 calories, you're going to be successful. So you can ration those out in a way that works for you. And I think what's important is that we figure out a way that will work for that particular individual, something they can sustain over time. Like our previous caller, if you had an ambitious goal of losing 50 pounds, you can easily lose 1 pound a week if you do some basic things. If you can sustain that over 50 weeks, in other words, a year, 52 weeks, at the end of the year you lost 50 pounds. That's a huge difference. But it's the resilience of doing that most days, day after day, week after week.
And what we found in a lot of people that skip breakfast is then they're snacking because they're hungry. And then they're rewarding themselves with something perhaps unhealthy because they skip breakfast, or because they're hungry, they may make a food choice they wouldn't normally make because they're hungry and they reach for something maybe not as healthy for them. So it's a good question. I think we're still recommending 3 meals a day and trying to limit snacking.
Okay, very good. Okay, talk about exercise, and maybe we have some viewers that are just, watching right now, or they watch TV, a lot, but they want to get going on something and they're not real athletic. What is a good place? Where's a good place to start?
Anywhere. Just start anywhere. And the most important, best exercise for someone individually, for you, is what you enjoy doing. And the easy place to start is walking. And Robert and I were talking about it on the way here. If you can just walk a couple minutes a day, a few times a day, and build up from there, it'll make a huge, enormous impact on your life.
Absolutely. Our biggest disease in America is metabolic disease, and that's from being sedentary, just sitting around and not moving. So the best thing we can do to combat this is get up and to move frequently. So what I ask folks to do is to get up and move for 1 or 2 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day. If we could start out by walking out a minute, walking back a minute, that's 2 minutes. You can do that in the morning. Let's try to do that at noon. Let's try to do that in the evening. 3 times a day. We walked out for a minute, we walked back. That makes a tremendous difference. In Kansas, it kind of depends on where you are and what your resources are. The weather's too hot, too cold, too windy. So if you're always depending on outdoor activities, people find excuses not to exercise. So we also have to find things they can do in the home. But I like to mix it up so that they're doing several short activities throughout the day. A little bit of weightlifting for resistance training for building up some muscle mass. Again, 1 or 2 minutes, low weights, stationary bike, treadmill, walking out, walking back. We like core body exercises as far as yoga, but that can be a little bit more difficult to teach. So whatever your interests are, the main thing is you do it, and you do it most days. And just for a minute or 2, for starters.
Will exercise boost your metabolism?
It does, and that's why people tend to eat more and gain weight when they exercise.
At least initially, until you build that muscle and become more efficient.
Now, the great thing is you build strength and muscle and endurance, you consume more calories, so you actually can eat more and not gain weight. So that's kind of fun. But again, it's funny math. So many people have, to use a brand name, a Fitbit or some type of device, pedometer that keeps track of their activity throughout the day. But again, the evidence on this medically is pretty mixed. So that we took a group of people that we gave them Fitbits, and we told them they needed 10,000 steps a day. That's a lot. And another group of people who didn't get Fitbits, guess who gained weight? They both did. But guess who gained more weight? The people with the Fitbits. So why is that? Well, maybe you reward yourself if you think you got your 10,000 steps by getting a little extra food. And you simply don't burn that many calories exercising.
You have to run really far to burn off a Snickers bar.
Yeah. It's the most efficient way to lose weight is to restrict calories. So if you get on a treadmill that counts your calories as you burn them, you can work very hard for 20, 25 minutes and only burn 100 calories. Little piece of chocolate has 80 calories. 2 of those is 160. So you can undo your exercise in about 5 seconds by eating.
So it's true that you can't outrun your fork. Thank you so much to Dr. Robert Clark and Dr. Kristie Clark for being our guests tonight. You can email questions for our next program when we'll be discussing chiropractic and sports therapy. That address is doctors@shptv.org. Thank you for joining us. For Doctors on Call, I'm Jenna Miller.
Presentation of Doctors on Call is made possible in part by an underwriting grant from Gove County Medical Center in Quitter. Healing through caring.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, serving approximately 950,000 Kansans in various programs. A value Kansans trust. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Russell Regional Hospital, experts, neighbors, friends.